Hey there, welcome to LSAT Demon Daily. I'm Nathan Fox. That's Ben Olson. We're the founders of LSATdemon.com and our weekly podcast, Thinking LSAT. We have an email here from Canon.
Hello, I'm taking the January 2025 LSAT and was wondering what the main thing average test takers do that keeps them stuck in the 150s. I took some practice tests, all averaging around 150 with about 60% accuracy in each section.
Yikes. Well, you're doing the same thing that everybody else does.
Yep.
I mean, the main thing people do that keeps them stuck at any level is they, scare quotes, read things without actually reading it to the point where they really understand it.
Yeah.
And if you've got 60% accuracy on your sections, then yeah, that's your problem. You're just doing way more work than you're actually understanding. You think that it's a test of second bests. You think it's a test of comparing answer choices to one another. You think that there are multiple credible answers and your job is to pick the best one. And you haven't yet learned that you need to solve these questions, that there's really only one good answer. That sometimes there's no good answers and you're really just kind of picking the best of a bad lot, but there's 4 terrible answers and 1 somewhat feasible answer. But there's just almost never 2 like high quality answers and you have to pick. But that's what novices do. That's what people who get stuck in the 150s forever do. They do too many questions without really understanding. Should we read the next paragraph?
Yeah.
Because it seems like it bears that out.
Yeah, Canon says, I feel that my biggest struggle is missing key details that would help me better understand the passage or the argument. So, what are some ways that I can get better at catching those details without spending 5+ minutes on a question like I do in drills? Since in drills, I really slow down and methodically select what I believe to be the best answer choice. My goal is a 160 on this test, but not sure if that is plausible. So, Canon, why are you doing something different on your practice sections or your practice tests than you are in drilling? What if you really are slowing down in drilling and getting those questions right? Then you should do the exact same thing on your practice sections.
I would recommend that Canon withdraw from the January 2025 LSAT. That artificially imposed deadline is not helping you. Like you're trying to like slap on Band-Aids and just get yourself to this finish line. You're trying to hope that you can limp into the 160s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just it's not likely to be successful, Canon. I hate to like bust up your dreams or whatever, but the fact that you're trying to take an LSAT that you're clearly not yet prepared for is impeding your progress.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's forcing you to do things like, well, when I do timed sections, when I do practice tests, I got to go faster because, I have to get into the 160s. Yeah, okay. But then you just put yourself right back in the same place where you were, where you're just reading things, but not really understanding, missing key details. Yeah. What do you think this test is about? This test is about your comprehension of and your use of key details. That's exactly what they're testing.
Yeah, that is the key difference between why one answer is 100% right and another answer is 100% wrong, and not why it's a test of second best, as you said, right? Like where you're trying to weigh a bunch of things. No, there is a bright line that cuts through one answer and kills it and makes the other perfect.
Yeah, we don't give tips and tricks here for how to like squeeze out 3 more points. And by the way, you're averaging around 150, trying to get to 160.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do that without a fundamental change in the level of understanding. And you're not going to get that fundamental change in the level of understanding without letting go of the idea that speed should ever be a concern. I don't care how long it takes you to do a question. I only care about whether you got it right. So my guess is that your accuracy on drills is not even that high, because accuracy of 60% on the timed sections or on your practice tests indicates that you're understanding very little. You're really only solving like maybe 1 out of 5 questions.
Yeah.
And then on the remaining 4 out of 5 questions, you're guessing and getting half of them right. That's how you get to 60% accuracy. And we need you to get to 90% accuracy. Well, The way you get to 90% accuracy is you just slow down and solve one question, and then you solve the next question. Your score is not going to go down, by the way, if you do this. I mean, I could score 150 on a practice test if the test only had 10 questions per section. If I was forced to guess on 11 through 25,
Yeah.
I'd still score 150
Yeah.
because I would get 1 through 10 right, and then I would guess on everything else and get 1 out of 5 of them right for free without even seeing the question.
Yep.
And I'd still score 150. So like I think, and this is really common. I'm not just beating up Canon. I'm beating up everybody like Canon. You have to, the main hump that you have to get over is you just have to realize that this is a test of details. It is a test of actually understanding. And it's not a test of second best. The right answers are clear, but you have to clear it up for yourself by actually understanding what's there. Got to let go of the January 2025 LSAT, right?
Yeah. You let go of these timelines, both big picture, macro timelines, and the micro timelines in your individual tests. You just have to stop rushing.
Yeah, you have to stop rushing. And you will get faster eventually, but you're only going to get faster once you get your accuracy way up. Get your accuracy above 90% and you'll realize that it doesn't take you that long anymore to solve the questions because you'll get good at solving the questions. When you get good at solving the questions, then you'll get faster. But right now, you're not good at solving the questions. In fact, you're not even solving the questions. You're solving very few of the questions. You're mostly just guessing on the questions.
Which is actually making you worse because you're building bad habits because now you're training your mind to get things wrong. It's like, oh, this is what we're doing.
Exactly. You're practicing not comprehending. You're practicing narrowing it down to a couple answers. Hopefully one of them is right. Guess between those two. Sometimes it turns out to be a third answer that you didn't even think was one of the contenders because you really just aren't understanding. You're not understanding the passages. You're not understanding the questions that they're asking you about those passages. You're not understanding the wrong answers that you're choosing. You're not understanding the right answers that you're not choosing. You're just really not comprehending the test if you've got a 150 and you're at 60% accuracy. There's so much that you're not understanding. And you got to realize that, again, I promise you, Canon, that if you gave me a test that only had questions 1 through 10, I would be able to match your score. Because I'll just comprehend those 10 questions. And that's more than you are currently comprehending. You can do it.
Yeah.
But you can't do it in January of 2025. Not by the time you hear this. You're going to hear this in January and the ship has sailed for you. You're 10 points away from your goal score. Plus, if you do what we actually want you to do, I think you might end up setting higher goals.
Yeah. You'll see the progress and you'll say, wait a sec, I can get into the 160s. Maybe I can get into the 170s.
Yeah, get 165 and then get 168 and then get 170. And it is possible because you'll realize that even the hard ones, it's the same exercise. It's just, okay, master the record, master the question that they're asking me about the record, and then pick the answers that actually answer the questions. Fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Thanks, Canon.
Email daily@lsatdemon.com if you'd like to ask us a question or share some LSAT or Law School admissions news. Thanks for listening.